Hi. I've heard many of you have spoken about the moon tonight. I love the moon. I've always felt this very special connection. And a couple weeks ago, I saw the moon in a different way. Anyway, this is the poem that came from that, called Vandal Moon. The new moon hangs low in the west, a disk dark and flat as slate, but for the razor-sharp crescent glinting along its belly. Like a scimitar, it slits the night sky, spilling shredded leavings of abandoned dreams. So there. And now for something completely different. This is my love poem for February. I am one of 5 sisters, and I feel very lucky to have them. This is called The Flock. 5 sisters around a table, perched like birds on a circling branch. 5 sisters chatter and cluck over stories of children and grandchildren. 5 sisters hoot and caw at each other's jokes, or just at each other. Whatever pecking order there might have been has been rendered moot by the passage of time. 5 sisters are eagle-eyed for each other's joys and pain. What is this ever-changing flock? A charm of finches, a chime of wrens, a choir of sisters? Perhaps. A parliament of owls, an unkindness of raven, a jury of sisters. Sometimes. A bouquet of pheasant, an exaltation of larks, a blessing of sisters. Above all else, 5 sisters, birds of a feather, my beloved flock. Thank you. And I got a pretty sweet brother I'd include in that too. So here we are. We are at the end of February. We are almost at the end of meteorological winter. And let's face it, except for a couple of weeks there in January, it's been a pretty sweet, okay, I know it's snowing. So I wrote this 5 years ago at the end of a really dreadful winter. It's called The Guest. Winter arrived in time for Christmas, and we welcomed him in, even merrily sang "Let It Snow" during that first storm as the trees and lawns donned coats of white sequins. So festive. It was all fun and games for a while. Skaters, skiers, and sledders were in heaven. In January, like a fond uncle doling out sweets, winter treated us to several days in the 40s, and we went about with coats unzipped, gloves and hats abandoned in the closet. And just as we were getting used to winter light, he lowered the hammer, called down the polar vortex, and was as indifferent as stone to our frozen and bursting pipes, our stalled cars, our canceled flights to paradise. Winter eased up a bit after that, but not much. Once or twice a week, he'd drop 1 inch or 3 of snow upon us, maybe throw in some freezing rain for variety. We scraped and shoveled and salted, all the while swearing under our breath and eyeing the calendar. Winter just grabbed the remote, settled deeper into the couch, and pretended not to notice. Finally, today, we exclaim, "March 1st already? Where does the time go?" Winter sighs heavily, gets up from the couch, starts toward the door, and then turns suddenly, and with a smile that doesn't quite make it to his eyes, says, "I ever tell you about the time I brought Boston to its knees on St. Patty's Day? Ice storm." A frigid finger runs up our spines as he chuckles, shakes his head, and saunters back to the couch. This guy's not going anywhere. Thank you. And thank Deb, I am being brave. I'm reading from my phone. This one is called Early March. These piles of snow, lately mountains and fortresses to the neighborhood kids, are shrinking and crusted with gravel and grime. Stretches of lawn revealed from the melting are gray-green, lumpy, and sodden. The skeletal stalks of last year's lilies crack and rattle in a wind that still bites. But from under the shelf of curbside ice, a trickle of water glints in weak afternoon light. High above, distilling gurgle calls announce a V of sandhill cranes. And the unremarkable patch of mud that will be my garden smells like hope. Thank you.